Welcome back to another episode of the Fall Ball Fellas. As you can see, we are absent Phil today. He is overcoming a little bit of a sickness. I'm a little bit stuffy right now too. Hunter, are you feeling good today?
I'm feeling viable, dude. Viable is the
Viable?
word. I don't know why that word came into my head. Does it make sense in this situation? I don't know. But I'm feeling viable right now. I'm feeling healthy.
Okay.
I got one more day of work this week, and then I'm off to my cousin's bachelor trip this weekend. So I'm
Where are
feeling
you
good.
going?
We're going to Dewey Beach, Delaware. Oh my God, I couldn't say that. Dewey Beach,
Okay.
Delaware. Never been. It's close beach in Delaware. Sounds like it's going to be a good time. We're going golfing at this really nice golf club in Delaware, so it'll be a good time.
Believe it or not, I've been to Dewey Beach quite a few times. It's real close to Ocean City, Maryland, and I used to go vacation in Bethany Beach, so like a 10-15 minute drive on the coast. Dewey Beach is also where what president was he? 46, where Joe Biden typically goes on his family vacations is going to be Dewey Beach, Delaware. So maybe you'll see good old Joe Biden. Don't put a thumbs down. He's just an
Sorry,
old
we're not
man.
allowed to be political in this.
He's just an old man. All right.
Yeah, I could wave
What's
at him
the
and he'd think he's waving at like a dog or something.
Jesus? But Hunter was working this past Saturday, so I'll give a quick little recap of this Saturday in college football. I'm sure he's going to learn a little bit here as well. And then we'll go into our five, and then we have a lot to talk about on the NFL side of things, which I know he knows quite a bit about.
NFL is back, baby. Yeah, sorry guys. I was in. For any of you who don't know, I am in medical devices, and I was in a lab all day on Saturday. It was a great lab, but I did not get to watch any football. I was trying to keep track of some of the scores on my phone. I had Iowa winning. They blew it in the end. I had SMU winning. They blew
Hey,
it in the
we'll
end.
go over those records later, all right? We'll go over them later.
So I'm a little upset about those two. I was keeping track of those scores, but I'll let Noah do his little rundown, and then I'll chime in with my predictions and my upsetness at the fact that I didn't do well.
All right. So we'll just start right from the top. There were quite a few teams right at the like 1 to 10 range that struggled a lot with their competition. Ohio State took care of business. Oregon absolutely destroyed a Power 4 opponent, and Oklahoma State just not even a close game. They dropped nearly 70 points, 69 to
I did
3.
see
If
that.
they really did try, they had 69, I believe, by the end of the third quarter. They definitely didn't want to embarrass Mike Gundy, but Oklahoma State's a program that's just going in the wrong direction.
Well, when
Um,
you're at 69 points, you just take a knee at that point.
Honestly, that's probably Dan Lanning's thought. He seems like the type of guy that would just want to end with 69 points. But we also had teams like Georgia really struggle against Austin Peay, 28-6 win. Clemson was down by 2 scores going into the second half, had kind of a fluky interception there to start the second half that kind of switched things, only beating Troy 27-16. We had LSU kind of struggling a little bit as well, only beating La Tech by, I think, 3 scores. And then Penn State overcame a pretty slow start. The final score looked a little bit different than FIU. Actually, they put up a little bit of a fight. That final score ended, I believe, 34-0. Yes. But Penn State didn't really impress me too much. All these teams are going to stay roughly in the same ranked spots. But we'll get into the big rank matchups. Oklahoma ended up taking care of Michigan at home. Mateer looked like his name. Money Mateer had 2 rushing touchdowns, another one through the air. Michigan, outside of one explosive play in that second half, really didn't do great on the offensive side of the football, but Bryce Underwood looked fine. His receivers really did not help him out. South Florida, as before this podcast, Hunter was like,
Wait,
they
who won that
suck.
game? Did Michigan win that game?
No, Oklahoma won.
Damn it. I had Michigan
20,
winning too.
I know,
Well,
24-13.
I wanted to correct that. Sorry, I'm doing it on the pod, everyone. But you had me as Oklahoma winning it, and I had Michigan winning it
I put you as
on the
Oklahoma winning?
Instagram.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Dang.
So it looks like I did better than I actually did. I actually
Damn.
had
Can't believe I
Michigan winning
typoed
it.
that. Can't believe I typoed that. No. Oh, I did have. Oh, okay. I put the logos in the wrong spots. So yeah, we'll clarify that right now. I put you two on Oklahoma and me on Michigan when in reality I was on Oklahoma and both of you were on Michigan.
Yeah.
So That is a pretty significant typo that we're going to say right now that that is not true. But yes, Oklahoma beat Michigan, and then pretty much
What
a
was the end
huge
score?
upset, 24-13. It was a
Come on,
it was a
Bryce.
pretty boring game.
I had
South
faith in you, man.
Florida, as Hunter just said, sucked before this. I don't think he looked at the final score of that game. South Florida went into Gainesville and beat the Florida Gators. All right. I was never on this Florida Gators train, and it appears the train is kind of derailing a little bit. South Florida just looked impressive. They gave up, only one touchdown to Boise State and routing them in week 1, and then going into a top 15 opponent's house and beating them. Good for USF. We had the reigning Big 12 champion, Arizona State, go down to the worst SEC team from a year ago, Mississippi State. But they actually look like a pretty viable team, as Hunter is viable today. So is Mississippi State. Mississippi State's 2-0. They look like probably not the worst team in the SEC this season, so good for them. Hunter already noted Iowa State beating Iowa. Absolutely boring game, as it usually is. Bet the under every time that happens. I believe it's 18-3 in its last 21 games. The under has hit 16-13. Absolute barn burner. Baylor outlasted SMU. That game was super entertaining to watch.
Double
SMU,
overtime, I saw.
Yeah,
Did I see
SMU
that
really
correctly?
choked that game away. It was a very good and entertaining game. Kevin Jennings had a huge first 3 quarters and then kind of turned into himself in the fourth quarter. Ole Miss beat Kentucky late. No one was really surprised with that. We all picked them. And outside of that, I really enjoyed, sorry for Kansas. That doesn't really matter in terms of their conference record, but Kansas did play Missouri in a kind of a state-to-state rivalry that's been going on. Haven't had that game in a few years, but Kansas had about a 2-3 score lead in that first half. Bo Perbula really looked good. Shut up a lot of doubters. No one knew if he could really throw the football. And in reality, he can throw the football, and he's looking darn good with Missouri. They're a team to actually look out for this season. So
Kansas won, though, right?
No,
Who won?
Kansas lost.
Kansas State or Kansas?
No, Kansas lost
Damn it.
to Missouri. Hunter,
Damn it.
family-friendly podcast, all right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm not going to cut that out because that's not the worst.
Sorry for cussing. Sorry for cussing.
Sorry for cussing. But Kansas State did actually lose. That's a game I didn't have on here. Kansas State lost to Army. Army was the team that lost to Tarleton State the week before.
I also saw that Kansas State paid them $1.5 million to lose to them. They paid Army $1.2 million to play them, and they lost.
Yeah.
Pretty rough.
Yeah, a lot of these smaller schools play these bigger schools. I wouldn't call Kansas State like a cream of the crop type of football program, but they're not a bad one. They pay these schools to come play them to obviously help these schools make some money for their football programs. But like Army and Navy, those programs are never going to go away. I believe that's about it, though. All the other games are relatively not great. We had Ohio upset West Virginia, who was Phil's dark horse pick. Outside of that, I don't really see anyone else on here where the game was really that crazy. We had some big blowouts. So I had already mentioned Oregon winning 69-3. Florida State won 77-3. We had Alabama winning 73-0. We had Tennessee winning 72-17. We had a 63-9, 62-14. And then good old Ohio State won, what am I looking at? 70-0 here. So
Give me the Buckeyes.
Yes. So some blowouts there. We're going to get into what's up.
Hold on. Before we move into that, I'm going to look up real quick. Actually, I'll do it later. I'd love to know the biggest loss of money to lose. Like, what team has paid a college? Because $1.2 million Kansas State paid Army to come play them, and they lost.
Yeah.
I want to know how much. What's the most that a college has ever paid on like a bad school to come play them and lose? I'd love to know that information.
Pencil that in for the next episode, but that'll be we'll make that the fall ball trivia question of the week. What school paid the most money to an opposing program to come play them at their home stadium? So That's something we can look up after this. I'm curious to see that as well. But yeah, 1.2 million is not anything to shy away from. Are you ready to get into our fall ball? I want to
Give
call it the
me.
fall ball 5, but we're going to call it the Saturday 5, fall ball 5, whatever we're going to name it. All right. This past week, graphic aside from the last podcast, I went 5-0, which boosts me into the lead at 9-6. Hunter had the worst week of the 3. However, he is only 1 game back. He went 2-3 this past weekend. He is 8-7 overall. Phil went 3-2 and is 7-8 overall. Can't say anything.
Should have went 4-1.
Who should have won? Who should have won?
Iowa should have won, and SMU should have won. Both choked. Both screwed me. Michigan, I think they're still a really good football team, but that game they didn't really choke it. They just lost.
I'll give you the SMU one.
I'll
give you the SMU one. Iowa, I don't think had the lead that entire game.
I know, but it was tied. They choked.
I hope you watch. Well, actually, I don't hope you watch that game because it was abysmal offensively. Both quarterbacks were thrown for under I think 100 through 3 quarters. So not a good game. I know advanced statistics wise, not a lot of people keep up with that. I had heard that Iowa actually had negative EPA per drop back. So they were actually losing yardage statistically, like per every drop back that they made. It was not a good sight to see. But those are the records. We are going to get into the 5 games this coming week, and then we're going to jump into some NFL, which I know there will be some more discourse and conversation about that. Our 5 games that we're going to go over, we're going to go once again the largest spread to the smallest spread. We're going to start off with that newly ranked South Florida team that beat Florida last week. They're going to Hard Rock Stadium to face Miami as 17.5-point underdogs. Line is just hella disrespectful. Who are you going with, Hunter?
I don't know. You start us off. Give me 2 seconds to think about it. Start us off with your choice.
I have 2 different things here. If we were betting spreads or picking spreads, I would pick South Florida's spread. I'm going to take Miami. I just think Florida was an overhyped team. I think the South Florida team might very well get the group of 5 bid or group of 6 bid, whatever it is now, to get to the college football playoff. They definitely look like the best non-power forward team right now. But give me the Canes in this one. I just think they're too good.
Give me South Florida.
All right.
Give me the underdogs. Because you know what the underdogs do? Run faster.
What? It's not underdogs. It's hungry dogs run faster.
Hungry dogs. But underdogs are hungry dogs, and hungry dogs run faster.
We're just going to make them hungry dogs. But yeah, that should be an interesting matchup. I do think that's a super disrespectful line for a team that just beat an SEC program away with a similar line to this. Florida literally entered a 17.5-point favorite. So that's just disrespectful. Next game, we got Florida, the aforementioned team that just lost to South Florida, going into Death Valley playing the LSU Tigers. I'm going to go straight and simple here. I think Florida is actually going to give a really good game. I think we overreact to things way too quickly within the football and just sports world in general. Florida's still a darn good football team. They're going to make this interesting, but I'm going to take LSU just being at home. It's a really tough place to play.
Give me LSU.
Yep. All right.
Give me LSU.
Hey, you fought me in the first one, so that's good. All right, next spread. We got Texas A&M. The Aggies are going to South Bend to face Notre Dame as 6.5-point underdogs. I am going to take Notre Dame here coming off a bye. I just think they're going to get right. They looked pretty good at the end of that Miami game, so I think their offense is starting to click. I'll take Notre Dame in this matchup.
I'm also going Notre Dame. Can't fade the Irish here.
Okay. That's a game that I would love to see Texas A&M win, but I just don't really see it happening. I don't think Notre Dame's going to start 0-2 to be in the year. Next matchup.
Yeah, I think that Texas A&M keeps it to a 1-score game though. Yeah. So if I was taking a spread, I'm taking the A&M spread here.
Yeah. These 2 teams played last year, and Notre Dame only won by a singular score. So this should be like I would say a lower scoring 1-score game, but we will see. This is also Notre Dame's second game of the season. Somehow they got a bye in week 2 in between their 2 hardest games for the entire season. I don't know how you get a schedule like that to play one game, get a bye, and then play another one. That's just
It should be
stupid.
illegal to have a bye week in week 2.
Yeah.
Like, what are you taking a bye from? What are you resting from? You played one game.
Yeah, I can't
Relax.
complain because Penn State's buys, and this is where interesting little tidbit before we get into the last 2 games. I think some of these bigger teams are getting to pick their buys within their schedule because Penn State has a bye between their 2 or before their biggest game against Oregon and Ohio State. They have a bye before those games, so I'm starting to think these big teams are able to schedule their buys where they want them because they pretty much dominate money in this sport.
Listen, everything's about money.
Yeah,
we all
true.
know this. Football is getting ridiculous, and I'm going to talk about it when we get to the NFL. Commercials in the red zone is ridiculous. But
did you see what the commercials were though?
Yeah, I mean it's split screen.
Yeah.
So they did that. They did that to start it out. I fully think that they will eventually go to full screen. They had to start us out soft so we wouldn't freak out.
Yeah.
So to give them credit, they started out right, but ridiculous bullcrap. It should be
True.
7 hours of commercial-free football, not 7 hours of football. But to bring us back to my point, I was going to say these college teams are probably paying a bunch of money to pick their buys.
Yeah, I would be able to. Yeah, I think that's happening because the scheduling, the teams don't get to really decide who they're scheduling. They do make deals with other teams. Like Penn State played FIU this past weekend because Virginia Tech backed out of a deal around COVID time. So we were supposed to play a home and home with Virginia Tech, and we had to find someone to fill the schedule. So for anyone that complains about scheduling, teams back out of scheduling with other teams all the time. And what I want to say, Hunter, did you see what they were playing as the commercials, every single commercial for Red Zone?
I didn't watch it. I don't watch
dude, it was just DraftKings promos. All it was gambling promos.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they started the commercials actually last year. It just wasn't like a video. They had like the little bars around the red zone.
So they had that as well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I got YouTube TV, so I got 4 games playing at once. I choose my 4 favorite games, and that's what we're going with.
Yeah.
Either, the best games of the week to watch or what is most fantasy relevant for me. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I mean, I love Red Zone. Don't get me wrong. Great thing to watch, but commercials, man, absolutely ridiculous. All right. Yep. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. Enough of that. We're going to get into Clemson as 3.5-point favorites at Georgia Tech. I don't know what their home stadium's called right now, but this is a tad bit of an interesting matchup because Clemson has not looked that good in either game that they have played. I don't know if this is a fluke or if this is how they actually are. Give me the upset here. I'm taking Georgia Tech.
Damn it. Sorry, I did it again. We're supposed to be family friendly.
Darn it. All right. Darn it.
Darn it. That's what I said, people. I said darn it. Give me Georgia Tech. I love the upset here, and as Noah said, Clemson has looked bad.
Yeah.
Not doing great. They've looked bad. And I want Georgia Tech to take the W here.
Yep. In this last matchup, this is the huge one of the weekend. We got the Georgia Bulldogs heading to Neyland Stadium to face the Tennessee Volunteers. 3.5-point favorites from Georgia. I'm going to read fully into this line. This opened at like 7.5 or 8 points. I don't know what it did months ago, but when the games ended this past weekend, I looked at this line. Georgia was 7.5-point favorites. It has been bet 4 points in the other direction. I don't like what Georgia has done through the first 2 weeks of the season. I don't know if Kirby's just taking it easy and hiding absolutely everything. This is a week of underdogs for me. Actually, I picked favorites for the first 3, so I'm not going to say it's a week of underdogs.
You're a majority favorites.
Okay. But I'm picking the underdog in these 2 close matchups. I'm going to take the Tennessee Volunteers. Their offenses looked very explosive. I think Joey Aguilar has fit that system absolutely perfect. And them playing at home, Neyland's a good 3 to 4 point swing in their favor. Georgia hasn't showed me enough. I don't trust their run game, and Tennessee's offense looks baller.
I wish I was Pat McAfee and I could sing the entire Georgia song right now. I don't know it by heart. But but give me the drunk, obnoxious Georgia fans.
Okay.
I'm going Georgia here. Woo!
That is one of my
Give me the
favorite
dogs.
game day clips of all time is with him
give me
singing
Bama.
that. Give me Bama.
Duh, amazing. Absolutely
Such
amazing.
Such a good one. We will have the graphic up like normal. I've been posting them pretty much the morning of. If you guys want them a day earlier, I want to start a little competition with our listeners here with these fall ball or Saturday 5, whatever we end up naming the challenge itself. Please drop your picks below in the comments on the post. We maybe and we'll have to have some discussion about it. But I think we could have a season-long challenge amongst all of you as well. We'd probably have to start like this week or a later week with that, but who knows? Phil will also have his picks. He'll just send it to us, so you guys will see, and I won't mess up the graphic this week.
Now, yeah, you Hunter. Better get it right, even though it kind of helped me. Hold on. Don't say anything yet.
Okay.
NFL is back, baby. Let's go. I am so excited. I unfortunately did not get to sit down and watch all of the games on Sunday. Normally my routine is wake up, do whatever I got to do in the morning, sit my butt down on the couch and not move from 1 o'clock until midnight. Yeah. That is what I do on Sundays. I luckily have an amazing girlfriend that loves to watch football with me, so she'll sit there and watch it with me. We're going to be making some great food. So NFL Sundays are back. I love it. Absolutely. Even having Thursday games, Friday games, Monday games. What are there? There's three days a week that there's no NFL. Love it.
Wait, what?
Can't complain.
4 days.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Wait, what?
Well, there's not a game every Friday, right? But you know,
you're saying, hey, there's games on Saturdays sometimes.
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
There was a Tuesday game one year.
It's usually 3 to 4 days a week. There's no NFL football, but I love it. We're back, baby. And this was an interesting start to NFL. I feel like we learned a lot. Some teams that were coming in, we had high hopes on, didn't look great. And I mean, there's some teams that went very far last year that looked dookie this year. Some coaching changes, some offensive lines that we thought were going to get better looked bad. Some teams that people didn't have high hopes for looked good this year. Some running backs that people weren't expecting to balled out this week. So let's get into it. Honestly, let's start with my team and the first NFL game of the year, the Birds and Dallas. Now, a lot of people I've seen are saying, oh, the Birds didn't look that great. Dallas kept a close game. It was a division game, people. I agree. Dallas kept themselves in it. And the one thing that I'm going to say, their defense didn't look awful without Parsons. It did not look awful. Their secondary was locking down Smith and A.J. Brown. Locking them down. I mean, you could see it. A.J. Brown had one target the entire game. The longest throw was to our wide receiver 3, Jahan Dotson. And Jalen Hurts was just doing a lot with his legs. So we really saw that the Eagles are kind of keeping their same game plan this year with the running game, which I'm not mad about. If it ain't broke, don't change it. What do you think? What did you think of that game?
So I do have a fun question to ask you at the end of this, since you did play the Fox or I guess just the Fox. What do you call it? The opening song
intro.
NFL, but yeah, the Fox intro. We'll get into that later because that's a fun question. Eagles game, I mean, very entertaining. I actually went to bed at the third quarter before the weather delay came back because it was a work night and I could not fathom staying up till like 12:30 when I think this game actually got over at. But the Eagles, from what I did see through the 2.5 quarters, I did watch some highlights afterwards. The missing Jalen Carter after the spitting incident pregame, I don't think Dallas's run game is going to be that effective if Jalen Carter's in there to swallow it up. So Dallas fans, I don't think you're going to get that same type of run game. Like Javonte Williams is not going to run for 2 touchdowns in another game this year, and that is going to be my prediction that I'm going to say. But in general, you were correct. The Cowboys defense did look super solid, especially their corners. I think that's more of a testament of how rough the Eagles wide receivers genuinely, like AJ Brown did not look like himself. I know he's been nursing a little bit of injury, and so has Devontae Smith. So I'm sure over the course of the season, they're going to get a little bit healthier, but you don't need to force the football down the field when Jalen Hurts and Saquon are running for first downs every other play.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked what I saw from Jalen Hurts and his ability to extend plays and get those necessary first downs. There were several times where I was like, Dallas, why don't you have a spy on him? He's not throwing the football.
That third down to end the game. I have no idea how they did not have a spy on Jalen Hurts. He called the audible. As soon as he called the audible and took a running back out of the backfield, you had to have known that Jalen Hurts was running that ball up the middle. I mean, anyone that knows anything about football, you could know like this a little bit about football, knew that Jalen Hurts was running that ball up the middle.
Absolutely. And I mean, you said it. The one thing that does worry me about the Eagles is I genuinely don't like their secondary. I don't like it at all. And I think that's going to be the one gap this year that they didn't necessarily have that year or last year. So that's something they need to bolster. And once again, it's week one. I'm not going to overreact at it. If I had to pick a weak spot from them, it's that. And for the Cowboys, CD makes one of those two catches that he dropped there on that last drive, and the Cowboys kick a field goal, and that's going to overtime. Potentially. I'll say potentially.
The one thing I do want to say on that is that drop that he had in the fourth, the dive laying out. Mm-hmm. Any other wide receiver besides like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, or maybe AJ Brown, nobody's even questioning. Nobody's even questioning whether that should have been a catch or not. Yeah. Like they'd be like, oh, that was just an overthrown ball, not the wide receiver's fault. So I get it. CeeDee Lamb, makes those types of plays. He's that kind of guy. But we got to give him a little bit of leeway, right? I mean, he is an all-star guy, and he's missing one of these balls every once in a while, right?
Also,
you're not saying that about
he had the most drops
Jacoby
in the NFL
Myers.
last season. He had the most drops in the NFL last season. He genuinely does have a dropping problem.
I thought Jerry Jeudy had the most drops in the NFL last year.
Or maybe it was, I swear to God, I saw a statistic that said CD had the most drops. But regardless of that, the second one, I'll agree, that was a very, very difficult catch. But the one in traffic that he basically had his hands on it, that was an easy 40-yard gain right there that would have put him in field goal range. But honestly, a wonderful game to kick us off. That weather delay was really kind of a kick in the sack because that game lasted way longer than it should have. But good game for Eagles fans, Cowboys fans. I think you have a lot to actually look forward to this season. Pleasantly surprised with them. Now, game 2, we had the reigning AFC champions, Chiefs, go down. In the first 3 plays of the game, we saw their star speedster wide receiver get taken out of the game by one of their other good players. Travis Kelce just mauled Xavier Worthy. But I think the story coming out of this is the change in offensive styles from the Chargers. They're letting Herbert gunsling again, which is interesting because Harbaugh's mentality is usually a very run-first attack, but they switched it up and it worked tremendously. Quentin Johnston looked like a good NFL wide receiver.
I was gonna bring this up, man. Talk about dropping passes.
Yeah.
The king of all kings of dropping passes last year, Quentin Johnston. He went 9 for 11. He had some crazy amount of catches. Yeah, this is another game I unfortunately wasn't able to watch. Okay. I had a work event.
I'll tell you his stat line here in a sec.
But 2 touchdowns. I think he only missed 2 of the balls thrown to him. And I don't even know what they looked like, so I don't know if it was just a bad throw or if he dropped it. But a guy to add to the waivers. A guy to add from the waiver wires going on. I mean, if they're going to let Herbert sling the ball like this, having Quentin Johnston, and if he's going to continue to catch it, he could be dropping you 15 points a week. I mean, that could be nice.
Yeah, so he had 5 catches on 7 targets. He didn't have as many. But once again, he led the team in receiving yards. He had 2 touchdowns, so they were targeting him down in the red zone. He looked athletic. That's the thing is coming out of college, Quentin Johnston out of TCU, really athletic dude. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6". He's got length. He's got size. He's got skill. But one of his problems in college that translated directly to the NFL was his hands weren't the greatest. And I remember watching some plays, and I think we just picked his drops, like all the videos of the offseason of him dropping passes. Quite frankly, he could have been catching 9 out of every 10, but they were just videotaping the one and posting it. So I thought he was going to be not a bust, because we already thought he was one, but I was not expecting that from him. And once again, you touched on it, I touched on it. This offense is going to be scary if they let a gunslinger actually gunsling, which is why they didn't have as much success last year. They're letting Herbert throw the football, and he is a top, I would say, 3 to 4 passer in the NFL. I'm not going to say quarterback, but he is a top 3 to 4 passer in the NFL.
I like the clarification you had there.
I'm clarifying
like
that. I don't think he's.
Don't
I think
get
he's
me
top
wrong,
7 in the NFL.
Herbert can sling the football. I mean, holy crap, that man can throw a football. And I think the other thing two things, right? Do we see a downfall from the Chiefs this year? Missing Rashee Rice. Now Worthy's out for 1 to 2 weeks. And Travis Kelce's old. I mean, he's not Travis Kelce from 2020, 2021. Good. He's not looking great. The man is engaged. He's living a happy, juicy life. He's not focused on being a star anymore. The man's gonna marry Taylor Swift. He doesn't need more money. He's fine.
Dude, that brings a conspiracy theory question, because everything that has happened with their relationship has happened around like big points in time. They get engaged right when she's dropping another album and NFL season starting. Tell me this is still not a publicity stunt, dude.
Oh, it's absolutely a publicity stunt, dude.
Yeah.
100% it's a publicity stunt. And why wouldn't you? I mean, that's a smart whoever's the marketing manager, social media manager for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Applauds to you, man.
Literally.
Or girl, applauds to you. I'm just gonna say you. Because smart. You're just smart. I can't complain. As a guy that's in marketing, smart business right there. But the other thing I wanted to point out is the rise of Amari and Hampton. I think that, it's going to be a split backfield with Najee and Amari for a little bit, but over time, Amari's going to take over. I really think that he's going to be leading this team in shares by week 5 or 6.
I'm going to be real with you. He already is the lead back, and he had.
Did he lead?
Dude, he had 15 carries and Najee had 1. He already has the backfield.
Jesus.
Yeah, he already has the backfield. He didn't do too much with his touches, but also the Chiefs have a pretty stout defensive line. So there is more room for space in future games. Maybe not against the Eagles, but he did look like he had some spry steps, and he's going to be a good running back in the NFL. Najee, I don't know as much. Touches were 17-2 in favor of Amarian. I don't think he's going to have to fight Najee for a spot. I think he's locked in as RB1 for that team. Now, if they switch their game plan like it looked like they did and they go to a more passing type approach, he's not going to have as much upside as people would hope for, but he's still going to be RB1 in a high-power offense, which is a top 12 fantasy running back potentially. Let's move on from that game. We got a lot more to go over. I'm first off going to say I'm sad that Phil's not in this. The Daniel Jones hate doesn't need to stop, but it needs to quiet down a little bit, all right? I heard this the whole hour.
Are you going to bring up the hold on, I need to find the image. I'm going to find the image. I need to
find it real quick. What I'm going to say is, as a Colts fan, I am not going to get my hopes super far up that Miami Dolphins team is not good. Me and Hunter read right through it at the beginning when we picked their under before the season started. Miami Dolphins are not going to be a great team. People read into Mike McDaniel's scheme in the last season, and we saw that with Tua, they struggled mightily. Tyreek wants out of there. He just got another domestic abuse charge. We'll see where that ends up going. But for the main part, Daniel Jones really impressed me. His willingness to run. He threw what his name is. He threw like 2 dimes in that game, potentially even more. And I think with the protection that the Colts have, which is pretty much middle tier NFL, they did lose a couple guys in the offseason. The test that I want to see is, how does Daniel Jones play against this Denver Broncos team this coming weekend, which we can chat about. But if I see him play well against a good defense, then I'm ready to pull the trigger and say, hey, I'm excited for this season. He looked great in his first game, but it's a very, very small sample size.
Yeah, I think, and I'll share that statistic that I just found in a second. But the other thing I want to highlight with Daniel Jones is Pittman is clearly his guy. I mean, last year, Josh Downs was kind of starting to show up a little bit from Anthony Richardson, but Danny Dimes just really loved Pittman this week, and I think we'll see a lot of that moving forward. So again, a little bit of fantasy. If you picked up Josh Downs like me, it was a little sad to see that because I thought he was going to be a little bit of a rising up star. But we'll see if those shares kind of and those targets get shared a little bit with Josh Downs moving forward. But anyway, per the hatred that Phil dropped on Daniel Jones, and I chimed in a little bit, all the jokes and fun last episode, but this really shut me up when I saw this statistic. So, per Scott Hansen on Red Zone, got to give him the shout out. No QB this season or this century has scored on every single possession until Daniel Jones did it this week when he scored on all 7 of his drives. Yeah. Talk about shutting up the haters. Talk about shutting them up. Although the Dolphins are just garbaggio. I mean, talk about shutting them up.
Yep. There was something I wanted to say. We'll see if I can remember it. But I'm excited for the Colts season. Off that first game, I think Phil's going to owe me a little bit of some money. But we will see. Next game that I wanted to go over was the Steelers outlasting the Jets. So kind of a revenge game for Rodgers.
What a game that was.
And I've seen some stuff where PFF graded him, I think, the 4th worst quarterback because of just his target depth, all of that stuff, which is crazy from a guy that threw 4 touchdowns in a game. I don't like PFF whatsoever. People that read into PFF, I don't know why NFL shows their PFF grade on there. They're terrible. But regardless, Rodgers looked really good. He was giving the Steelers wide receivers space to run after the catch, which is what you need to give guys like DK Metcalf. We saw a rise in Calvin Austin as the wide receiver too. Mm-hmm. So Calvin Austin is a guy that you can also, we didn't mention Hollywood or Marquise Brown earlier for the Chiefs. He's going to be a real good guy for Hollywood Brown. He's going to be a real good waiver wire addition, which we will get into fantasy a bit later. But since we are on the topic of the Chiefs wide receivers, Calvin Austin is going to be another good waiver addition because no guys below him separated themselves into that wide receiver 2 range. Roman Wilson was nowhere to be found, didn't even get a target. And Ben Skoranek, who's probably anywhere from 3 to 5, he's not going to have a 22-yard catch. He had 1 target all game. It just happened to go for a touchdown on a bootleg. So
Ben Skoranek, love the name, but didn't make an appearance. But I think sticking with that game, let's switch to sides a little bit. Let's talk about Fields. I mean, talk about making a comeback. No, everyone gave up on this man, and the Jets bring him in and put faith into him and build a scheme around him. And wow, did he look good. Yeah. And talk about fantasy. I had him on my bench. I started Dak Prescott over him. Oh, that sucked. It lost me in fantasy in that week. But yeah, I mean, Justin Fields, his legs are looking great again. He was finding guys all over the field. Garrett Wilson, talk about being revised again. Revived, not revised. And, that I think just both teams that nobody really expected to look that good came out strong opening day. And so I'm excited to kind of see what Rodgers and Fields do moving forward, if this was just a fluke game or if they're going to continue this momentum moving forward. But I will definitely be starting Justin Fields in my lineup next week.
Yeah, with his rush ability and just you said it spot on. They built a scheme around him, and I think it really worked. Breece Hall got revived as well. Breece Hall had a terrible last season. I was scared to draft him this year because I didn't know how that Jets offense was going to play. Given still week 1, still a lot more, very small sample size, but he looked explosive. First carry of the game, 18 yards. Second carry of the game, 11 or 12 yards. So he looked explosive. You got a short little plunge from Braylon Allen, who is surely going to be the short down back. So he has some fantasy value as well. But overall, the main takeaway is offenses look like they were clicking at a high level. Defenses from both sides did not look good. But, however, the defense that stepped up and made a play was the defense that won. Game-winning play, what am I trying to say? Why can't I think of his name? Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey makes a spear tackle on Garrett Wilson on 4th down to win the game for the Steelers. What a hit. But once again, one defensive play was what decided that game in such a back and forth affair. Very excited to watch both offenses. Now, let's segue into
struggling today.
True. Let's segue into two teams with abysmal offenses this past weekend, fully attributed to their offensive line. Both the Texans and the Bengals offensive lines looked atrocious per usual. Lots of penalties, not covering whatsoever. Myles Garrett, Scott Hansen panned to it. They ended up getting it wrong. Myles Garrett had a sack on 2 straight plays, almost on 3 straight plays, but someone else got credit for the sack. Bengals O-line was getting obliterated. I'm sure they can become a little more cohesive over the course of the year, but Jamar Chase had like 2 catches, not a number 1 overall fantasy pick.
I think he scored 4.8 points this week if you play a full PPR.
He had like 2 catches for 22 or 2 catches for 24, something in that range. But the Bengals offense looked terrible. Burrow can't really do much behind that O-line, and the Texans could not protect CJ Stroud. Now, both of those teams we listed have probably 2 of the top, like, I'd say 5 to 10 pass rushes in the entire NFL. So I'll give them a little bit of time to figure it out, but not a good start for either of those teams.
Not a great start, but one thing I do want to highlight from the Bengals side is Chase Brown. I mean, a lot of people were expecting it coming in that he's going to be getting a lot of work, and he looked great in the beginning of the game. He slowed down drastically towards the end, but that's just because the offensive line was doing absolutely nothing. So we need to see some more out of that Bengals offensive line, which a lot of people, were expecting them to put a little bit of work into this offseason, and it just didn't really shape out to much. And then the Browns, their offense looked not great either. I mean, Jerry Jeudy dropping the balls again. I think at least 2. Joe Flacco not looking great. I mean, I saw one of the interceptions he threw. It was an awful throw. So I wouldn't be surprised if Flacco's out of this in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and they bring in, Shadir or probably Shadir.
I'm going to be fully honest with you and maybe disagree a little bit. Neither of those interceptions were Flacco's fault. He put the ball, and both of his wide receivers had the ball in their hands, deflected off their hands, and got picked off. Both were deflections that were not his fault.
The throw on the one, I forget who dropped it. It was either Tillman or Jeudy, and then it popped up from the ground. He threw one to each of them. So there was one where a guy sat, I think it was Jeudy, sat in the zone. It wasn't the greatest throw, but Jeudy was in possession to make the catch, and it unluckily popped up. The one to Tillman, he had that crap right in his hands. Both low throws, not the best throw in the world, but as NFL wide receivers, if it is where both of those balls were, you need to come up with those. Maybe we can say the throw could have been better, but I don't think Flacco was that bad in this game. He threw for 290 and a touchdown, which they didn't look terrible. Like, their running game is atrocious. Let's be real here. Oh, Dylan Sampson didn't look bad.
Dylan Sampson looked terrible on the ground, but looked good through the air. Dylan Sampson is a good pass down back, and he literally ran for 2.4 yards per carry on 12 attempts.
They need Judkins, and basically they'll just turn into the Ravens. Dylan Sampson's their Justice Hill, and then Judkins hopefully becomes their Derrick Henry. But is he going to be playing this weekend? I saw that there was talks of him coming back this weekend.
Who, Judkins? I don't think he's going to play, for the sole fact that the NFL can still give their own suspension. I think he's still going to get a suspension.
But they got to come out with it at some point, because he's just sitting there on my fantasy lineup, and I'm getting sad.
True. So also, I did want to say the Browns actually outplayed the Bengals in this game. Their kicker missed a field goal and an extra point, and they lost 17-16. So that's the difference in that.
If we want to talk about some fantasy guys to pick up from this matchup, Fannin Jr., you got Cedric Tillman as well. He was getting a lot of targets. Sampson was actually surprisingly in all 4 of my leagues not available on waivers. He was drafted. So if Sampson's not drafted in your league, he's definitely a good pickup until Judkins comes back, because he's going to be getting a lot of the pass work. And and Flacco looked like he was dumping the ball off the lot to
Yep,
his second option. So,
absolutely.
I would say those are three great guys to pick up off the
Hmm.
waivers. No one from the Bengals impressed me. There's no one that
No.
I would say to pick up from them. I mean, their wide receiver one put up 5 points, and the QB that put up like 20 to 30 points every game last week put up 8 points. Another guy that I had starting. So very sad.
Hmm.
But yeah, so, you know, we'll see.
I agree.
See if you can grab those guys off of waivers.
Yeah. Let's be a little more quick with these next few games. I don't think there's a whole lot of big
Well,
things.
there's
I want to make
one that I
sure
want to get a little more in depth in.
we
Actually,
can.
two.
We can. I just want to say for that 1 o'clock slate, I'm gonna actually look at my phone to say because I don't have notes on all of them. We can just touch on it like really fast. The one game a lot of people had eyes on was that NFC South matchup between the Bucks and the
Mm-hmm.
Falcons. Michael Penix really impressed me with his ability to fight through contact and
Yes,
is
he
actually
did.
looking like a viable runner. Drake London leaves the game late with a shoulder injury, fantasy impact right there. And then
Yep.
Baker, Emeka Ibuka. Baker looked rattled at times in this game, which makes sense because the Falcons put a lot of effort into their defense this season. But Ibuka is looking like the guy at the position that you drafted him in. Wow, dude, we're literally struggling with words today. But
Yeah.
he looks genuinely like the number one wide receiver in this offense. And with a guy like Baker who likes to throw the football, Emeka could emerge as a top 12 fantasy wide receiver this season.
I'll go up and just say top 10. I mean, there was not fantasy wise great performances from really anyone this week. I mean, there's maybe 2 or 3, 4 guys that put up over 20 points, wide receivers. So
Yeah.
it wasn't very impressive wide receiver wise this week. But
No,
yeah, I mean that was a great game.
Bijan had one long 50-yard reception, and then outside of that, all of his stuff was through the air and catching
Didn't he
passes.
have
So
like 7 receptions for like 97 yards or something?
it was 6 for 100 and a touchdown. So he did all of his work through the air.
That's insane. But hey, I mean that was great for fantasy. But yeah, like you said, I mean Penix looked really good out there. I'll echo that across the board. You
Yeah.
know, Bijan's going to be the guy. So we'll see. I have Drake London as well, so very upset to see him go down injured. It looks like 1 to 2 weeks
Yeah.
that he should be out. So not too much of an impact, but maybe you can pick up Tillman off the boards
Mhm.
to fulfill his spot. But
Yep.
one game that I really want to get into was another division game. A lot of great division games this week.
Yeah.
But a very surprising division game because nobody expected this. Well, okay, I shouldn't say nobody. We expected downfall, but not this bad. The Lions, the Packers. I mean, without Ben Johnson, that offense looked awful. And I saw a stat that the Lions and Jared Goff without Ben Johnson are like 8-28. They have an awful record
They
without
gave
him.
another statistic. I can't remember their other OC, but or it was without McVay. Jared Goff is 0-19-1 without McVay or Ben Johnson.
So Goff overrated. Like that was just a piss poor performance. I mean,
Hunter, family
What?
friendly.
You could say piss poor.
Okay.
That's family friendly.
Okay, fair enough.
That's family friendly.
Okay.
I'm not cursing, but I think that that's allowed.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the Lions without Ben Johnson looked really, really bad. And Micah Parsons to the Packers. Wasn't playing as much as I expected him to play. They had him out, definitely probably due to his back. But when he was in that game, he was doing what Mike Parsons does. And that was awesome to watch. And you know, the Packers looked really good. Matthew Golden, a little bit not as much as people were expecting. You know, Dobbs seemed to be a guy that he was targeting a lot. Tucker Kraft with a great catch in the end zone. Jaden Reed as well, I believe. Jaden have a touchdown?
Jaden Reed had a touchdown. Kraft had a touchdown. Jacobs had a touchdown in that game.
Yeah, so Packers all around looked really good that game. Lions did not look that great.
So I'm going to give not an excuse fully to the Lions. The best unit on that entire field was the Packers defense. And I knew the Packers defense was top 5 last year. I knew the addition with Parsons was going to be good. I did not think they were going to be that dominant. And I genuinely think this Packers unit might be the best defense in the NFL, top to bottom. Very pleasantly surprised with that. That's the only reason I'm going to give the Lions a little bit of leeway here is that Packers defense was swarming. Goff did not have a lot of time to throw, and the Lions have a good offensive line. So they were getting constant pressure. The corners were defending really, really well. I did want to bring up one call that did not change the outcome of this game, but it definitely.
Hold on, before we get into this, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new segment of Hot Takes from Noah D'Angelo.
Okay, that's not going to be the hot take, but I am having trouble figuring out. It was the interception that Love threw that gave the Lions really good field position inside the 20 when it was still 20-6. Huge play and huge swing in the game. Instead of making it a 1-score game in the third quarter, they called a defensive holding, which was not a good call whatsoever. And then on the return, they called 15 on Hutchinson on one of the cleanest blocks I've ever seen. So they did take back something that would have made this score a little bit closer. And then what ended up happening after that is because of the field position change, they punted the ball down to the Lions 1. The Lions punted it to their own 35, and then the Packers scored to make it a 3-score game. So there was a very, very questionable call that did not change the outcome of the game, but changed how close this game was. Because I was impressed by the Lions defense as well. Neither offense fully impressed me. The Packers at times could not string drives together. They started off very, very good in the first half, but I think both teams are good. I think Packers really impressed me.
I need to turn my light off. I'm still talking. Keep going.
I think that I am more impressed with the Packers than I am down on the Lions from this result. I think the Lions offense will find its way. I just think they face one of the worst defenses potentially to play. To play in week 1. So that's my takeaway from that game.
Yeah, and if you want to bring fantasy into this, a guy you could pick up would be Romeo Doubs. I think he's only on rostered 5%. So he's a good guy to pick up for if you need depth. I don't think that he's going to be getting 10 to 15 points every week, but he seems to be a target that Jordan Love liked in the beginning of the game. And unless Matthew Golden gets going, he could be the 2 guy behind Jaden Reed. So we'll see where that goes. But Tucker Kraft definitely was a good pickup this year. If you drafted him, if he's somehow on your waivers, definitely pick up Tucker Kraft. Seems like he's going to be a target this year. But let's move in to the game of the week. Holy crap. Was that wonderful game to watch. The Ravens versus the Bills.
It's going to be the best Sunday night football game of the season. Quite frankly, that was No, it was
that was a Sunday game. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
I'm getting my days mixed up.
The script's already done. The NFL used up all their tickets for this first game. I'm going to give credit to both teams here. Both teams looked really, really good offensively. Ravens offensive line with Henry and Lamar was cooking. And then the same thing for the Bills. Neither defense looked good whatsoever. They both looked like Swiss cheese. But once again, they're playing 2 of the best offenses in the NFL. So I don't think their defenses are garbage by any means. I think they just ran into really tough teams. And you got to think about the units on the field here. Game, I'm going to say this straight up. The Ravens lost that game, and then the Bills took advantage of it. That Derrick Henry fumble doesn't happen. Bills lose by a touchdown, and they run the time. And Harbaugh played really, really, really casual and calm when the Bills had all of the momentum. They should have went for it on that 4th and 2.
Absolutely agree. They should have went on 4th and 2. And this is typical Ravens fashion. If you've followed the Ravens last year, 2 years ago, they always just seem to blow it in the 4th quarter. I mean, they were winning 40-25 with 4 minutes left on the clock, and the Bills came back and won that game. I think that when you're talking about defenses, talk about a defense that if you remove one guy, they would crumble. If you get rid of Kyle Hamilton from the Ravens defense, I mean, that would be bad for them because that man is everywhere on the field. If there is a tackle happening, Kyle Hamilton is there. If there's an interception, there's like a 60% chance it was Kyle Hamilton or
Oh,
Marlon Humphrey.
that
But
game was
and
so close to being over. Kyle Hamilton's
mhm,
fingertips literally touched the ball, and if he didn't do his little like bunny hop to miss time, that was an easy block. He got through untouched and had one of the easiest block opportunities I've ever seen in the NFL, and he did whiff on that. So I'm not saying he's not a great player. He would have been like in history for that block after everything that happened
yeah.
previously.
And I think that, switch it over to the Bill side a little bit. Josh Allen needs a weapon. I mean, that if he doesn't
Keon
have,
Coleman.
I
Keon
mean,
Coleman
Keon
showed
Coleman
out.
looked good. He looked good, but he's
Yeah.
not a star guy. Like, you can tell that Josh Allen carries this team hard
Yeah.
because they don't have a star guy. And that's the one thing that I think is missing from the Bills to get him over the hump into winning a Super Bowl is really getting a star guy. If Keon Coleman can and step up this year and really show out, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I can and put that much trust
Yeah.
into him yet. But I think that that's the one thing that the Bills have really been missing is a star wide receiver. Josh Allen, I mean, really hasn't had that the last couple of years. So I think that should be something that the Bills look into somehow requiring. But yeah,
Yeah.
what do you
I
think?
mean, Keon absolutely went off, and when they drafted him last season, this is pretty much what they expected: 8 for 112 and a touchdown. Um, given like another PFF thing, I saw that he won 0% of his routes, and I'm like, you don't get 8 catches with winning 0% of your routes, so I'm not going to
Yeah.
buy into that PFF BS. But no, I think Coleman could be that guy. I agree with you though that the past couple of seasons after Diggs left, they didn't have that X factor wide receiver. I think Coleman could be it because they were relying on Shakir last season for
Mm-hmm.
the bulk of their targets. Amari Cooper didn't really do anything in that offense. Now he's retired. But yeah, that
Then
was
they had good old Mac
Mac
Hollins.
Hollins, dude. Him walking into the stadium barefoot
Oh my
will be
God, dude.
amazing. That was hilarious. But from those past games, big injuries. We mentioned Xavier Worthy. We mentioned what am I trying to say? We mentioned Drake London. Two big ones for
Yeah.
the Niners that is very much going to impact their season. We had George Kittle getting hurt in the first half. He will be out with at least 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. And then Brock Bowers actually left as well. They think he might be okay and not miss a game, but he left with a knee injury. He was on the sideline. Looked like he was walking pretty smooth. I don't know what's going to happen there. And as well
Uh,
in that Niners game, Brock Purdy's hurt as well and might be out the
mhm.
next week.
So let me step in here real quick. I don't know if you saw earlier, but Kittle was put on IR, so he's out for 4 games.
I just said that.
I swear I heard you say 2 to 3 weeks. I'm sorry. I clearly misheard that. I'm so sorry to the fans out there because I clearly misheard that. But yeah, I mean that's huge. I think that that's going to be detrimental because CMC was looking like CMC again. Thank God. Everyone was worried about his calf. He was just
Yeah.
I mean, he came out and said it like it was just his calf. Everyone just gets super tense now whenever anything happens to him because of his injury history, rightfully so.
Yes.
But he came out and said, it was just a little tightness in his calf. He was fine, and he looked great. He looked like CMC again. Not as 100% CMC, but he's looking at that 80, 90%, and hopefully he can continue to grow. Because with Kittle out and Juwan Jennings injured, uh, there's really nothing on that offense. Ayuk's still out. Brock Purdy injured, so we'll see what happens with him. But I think that if you're really missing out and you drafted George Kittle early, which again, I got screwed injury wise this week.
Yeah.
Some guys you can look out for on waivers. Juwan Johnson could be a great guy to pick up for just while Kittle is out. He's going to be looking good for the first couple of weeks with the Saints. I believe he was the one I was thinking of. I think he had 9 catches and 11 targets in their game.
He went off, yeah.
Yeah, so he could be one to look out for. Fannin Jr., Brenton Strange is another guy that's usually on the waivers that I think the Jags will use a lot this year. So there's still some guys on the waivers for you to be able to pick up if you're missing George Kittle. But if you're missing a running back or your running back look bad this week, I'm totally just jumping into fantasy right now. But
I'm on it right now.
I
There are no
had
running backs in any of my leagues.
it's dry running back wise, and I had Pacheco, and I was looking, I was fiending. I needed something because Pacheco put up 4 points, and
Yeah.
I guess I'm just gonna have to trust and rely on him to step up a little bit more. But he was splitting more with Kareem Hunt than I expected him to,
Yeah. I'm trying
and
to look right now, dude.
that
There's
sucks.
no
No,
one.
there's nothing unless Dylan Sampson is available on your
Mhm.
waivers. I mean, there is really nothing you can do picking up running backs. Luckily,
Yep.
no one really got injured running back wise this week.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh, hey,
but
we gotta say it. We gotta say it. Eckler has a shoulder injury. Brian Robinson got traded. Bill is already the RB1 and had a touchdown.
Bill McCorsky,
Bill. Yep.
Bill.
Brosky Merritt is a guy that was going in like the 5th or 6th round in some drafts. I was like, you guys are crazy. But if he is able to keep up the same level of intensity he
Mm-hmm.
did, given it was the Giants, but if he can play like that every week, he 1,000,000% will be a top like 15 running back this season. So everyone that
100.
drafted him early and I call crazy, I'm sorry. Bill's gonna go
Yeah,
off.
I'll give you credit. I honestly didn't really even know his name going into the season. I'll be completely honest. I knew of him,
Yep.
didn't really watch any of him in the preseason or anything, but he impressed a little bit going into in that Commanders game. I think that's one other thing we should highlight before we hop off is Deebo Samuel. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
he went off.
holy, he was looking good. I mean, he was getting used like Deebo Samuel in his prime on the Niners. And
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what the Commanders are missing. And I think that it sucks for Terry McLaurin owners, also me. So that really sucked to see. And in the offseason, Jaden Daniels and the coaches were talking about how they really need to work on those quick, short passes. And
Yep.
that's exactly what they did going into the first game. And that was their game plan, and it looked really good. Terry missed one deep ball and, ended with, well, Terry didn't really miss it. Jaden
Yeah,
ended
no,
it for him. But
that was an easy touchdown if Daniels
yeah,
put that on the mark. So
so I don't think really lose hope in Terry yet. I think that he'll get going. But we did talk about it a little bit in our podcast over the off season, how we will see a regression in Terry McLaurin because a lot of his fantasy points did come from touchdowns last year. So
yeah,
don't lose hope. Hopefully he's not your wide receiver one because that would suck. But yeah, I think that he'll still get into that wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 flex position throughout the rest of the year. He did start off really bad the beginning of last year as well. I think he was a total of 39 yards through the first 2 weeks last year. So
mm-hmm.
we should see him progress a little bit
Yeah.
more through the season.
Yeah, they used him as a decoy to do some clearing out routes of those streaks and everything to open up space for Debo on those routes, and Debo ended up scoring that touchdown. On the other side, you actually just made me think of it. Two little things. One, I kept some notes. There was an uptick in kick returns. Obvious reasons. If you kick it into the end zone, they're getting the ball at the 40, so you don't want to kick the ball in the end zone. Most guys were returning it between the 25 and 30, so they were saving 10 yards. And then on top of that, you were having a lot of returns going for more like 40-plus yards.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing, side of the game that you just said, I had seen reports. Brian Dable met with some of the owners and I believe the GM. It looks like Jackson Dart is going to be starting sooner than we all expected. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson looked terrible, but Jackson Dart starting would be really, really cool early. Hunter,
What do you?
what were you going to say?
Go ahead. No,
No,
what do you think I'm gonna say?
I don't know. I think it's good.
Give me Jameis Winston.
Honestly, yeah. For fantasy value, Neighbors
Give me
actually had
Jameis
a
Winston.
good game in that second half. So
He
I don't
missed
know.
some contested balls that he was catching last year, though.
Yeah.
I will say that. I think there was 2 or 3 contested balls that last year you would have seen him catch, and he dropped this year. So,
I mean, the top 5 drafted wide receivers all had very mid weeks. Jefferson
mm-hmm.
salvaged his and ended up with like 14 to 16 fantasy points. So he was the only one that did something decent, but also he didn't look like himself. Before we leave, we can go into it if we want. We have 3 big matchups this coming weekend. we can go in depth. We don't have to. First one, huge one, Super Bowl rematch. We have the Eagles playing at Kansas City.
Yep, and Arrowhead.
Okay. Yep. So I'm going to take the Eagles in this matchup. I think the issue with the Chiefs wide receivers is not going to be great, but also I believe this is a blow up spot for one of either Hollywood Brown or Juju. With the lack of depth they have at wide receiver and what I saw from those Eagles corners, I think one of them is going to have a huge game this week.
Yeah, I mean, them having Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy out is definitely helpful for us because the corners is where we're sucking. But don't discount Hollywood Brown. I mean, he looked great last game. So he's definitely a little bit of concern of mine. We should definitely have Quintamino Bay on him. Maybe have Cooper DeJean shadowing a little bit.
What is his name? Quintanamo.
People. Hold on. Let's see if I can say it. Quinyanamo Bay. Yeah.
You have a Quinyanamo Bay and a Quinyon Mitchell. That's kind of crazy.
No, that's his nickname.
Oh,
Quinyon Mitchell's nickname.
I did not know that.
Because they lock him. He locks them up.
I did not know that's what that was. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought that was some other dude that I've never heard of, and I was like, they have both those guys?
That's his nickname. That's his nickname because he locks them up. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Adoree Jackson looked atrocious for the Eagles, so hopefully that's just Juju on. He's got Juju, and we can lock down Hollywood Brown. But yeah, I'm definitely taking the Eagles here. Mm-hmm. I mean, Pacheco didn't look great last week, and our run defense will be great. Jalen Carter isn't getting any suspension, so he did get like a $57,000 fine. I would like to shout out the fact that Dak Prescott spit first, but that's neither here or there.
We can have a full conversation. You can spit in someone's direction. The second you spit on someone, that's when there's problems.
He was spitting at the grass. Dak just happened to be standing in the way.
Jalen Carter couldn't see him like he couldn't see when he was driving that night. Alrighty.
Low blow.
Oh yeah. All right. Two more matchups I want to get into, and one's for storyline purposes, which I think we would we'll do that one first. We're just gonna go Ben Johnson, playing his old team already. They're gonna be playing at Ford Field. I'm just taking the Lions in this matchup. I liked what I saw early from the Bears. They're still not a good football team, so give me the Lions here. I think they make right.
I think Caleb Williams started out really great. I think he started out 9 for 9. It was a lot of short passes, so nothing like beautiful deep passes that he was making.
Bro, he made one sick one on the run though. To
that when he was running on this side, yeah. Didn't I get called back?
No, that one was legit.
Oh, I thought that was the one where they got called back for a holding. Maybe not. But yeah, I mean, the Bears look good. I think that they will have a decent season this year. I would like to see them utilize DJ Moore a little bit more. I thought, first of all, throw it back to this week. I thought DJ Moore died. I thought he was dead.
I thought he broke a rib, dude.
And then
they had to put him in. They had to put him back in for that final play of the game, and I lost fantasy because of that stupid lateral play with 5 seconds left.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they have just gotten a first down?
Yeah, and how they ruled out a fumble, I don't know. He was
a lateral that gets recovered by the defense has always been a fumble.
Yeah, but anyway, give me the Lions. The end of the day, give me the Lions. I think that while we see a downfall from them this year, I don't think that they're downfall enough to lose to the Bears.
Yeah, and then the last one before we do our closing and everything, Commanders are going to Lambeau. This is actually the game I'm most excited for, more than the Super Bowl rematch, is going to be Commanders-Packers. I think you have two of the, I'd say, top 3 to 4 teams in the NFC facing off this early in the season. I'm really excited to see what Jaden Daniels can do against that Packers defense that we just saw Goff and the Lions struggle with. And I'm really excited to see what this Packers offense can do against the Commanders defense because they shut down the Giants. I'm not saying that's a whole lot, but I hope this is a nice high-scoring game. See some points. Both offenses are in a good rhythm. I'm going to take the Packers in this one just because of what I saw from their defense, and they're at home.
I'm just going to start off by saying I'm taking the Packers as well. I think that the one thing that the Commanders are going to struggle with that we saw in the first game is those over-the-middle passes to Debo because guess who's going to be standing right there? Micah Parsons.
Yep.
And I don't think that they get away with Debo. I don't think anyone expected that, to be honest.
No.
I do not think that the Giants and Brian Dable were ready for that at all. Because the Giants have a good defense this year. Like, let's put it that way. They have a good defense. They have a great defensive line. But I don't think that anyone was expecting the revival of Debo Samuel like that. And they were putting more focus on Terry McLaurin. No, you weren't.
That's why I drafted him in 2 leagues, is because I was like, this is the perfect offense for him to do his little gadget plays and everything because of what they have on the outside and at quarterback. It opens up space for him.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true. Like he fits beautifully into this offense. Terry with the deep threat and then Debo over the middle. I think it works wonderfully, but I think that teams will catch on to that, and I think that the Packers will be able to stop that.
Yeah. Do you know why Debo struggled so much last year? They didn't have any playmakers outside of Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
Ayuk was hurt for most of the season. Their number one, Pearsall was going to be good, by the way. He's going to be very solid, and he has to take a bigger step up now with Kittle hurt. But McCaffrey was also out all of last year, so you didn't have that. There weren't a lot of weapons. Debo really excelled in an offense where there were other guys taking pressure off of him. He's not an X wide receiver. He's not the guy that's going to go out, catch passes that are thrown up for grabs like some other guys. But if he fits a system and there's other guys around to take some of that pressure off, Debo is a really, really talented player. So I think he found the perfect fit for his style.
He did. He needed a decoy. He really needed a decoy. So, yeah, I think we'll see I think Debo will be a great player this year. I don't think he's going to dominate like he did the first game of the season.
Yeah.
But I expect a lot out of him this season. And I'm looking forward to next week. I'm so excited that football is back, man. And I hope that everyone else is. And, guys, give us your predictions. We got some pretty big matchups this week with the Packers Commanders and the Super Bowl rematch in Arrowhead. So does Patrick Mahomes have it in him to make that comeback without his star wide receivers, or do the Eagles run through them again like they did in the Super Bowl?
That's true. Well, just a couple closing remarks. We appreciate you guys. A little bit of a longer episode, but we did kind of conjoin our two together in this one. So moving forward, just because Phil was out, we will have 2 distinct episodes, one for college and one for NFL. And I mean, we had talked in the bit, like a little bit earlier today, we want to try to do a little bit more segment-based stuff for you guys, try to keep it fresh, fun, and then that way it's easier to get some clips for social media. So if you guys want to look out for that, you can. We are now present on YouTube, which we will be dropping. Hunter, you just want to drop this episode on YouTube for the heck of it today?
We don't need no editing. We're perfect.
Well, we'll post this full episode on YouTube. If you guys want to watch us live in the camera, we will also be cutting off some parts moving forward of like 5 to 7 minute segments like we had of our pick 5. And on top of that, follow us on YouTube, follow us on TikTok. I have been slacking for 2 weeks. I will be putting out some short form media for you guys from this episode specifically and more moving forward in the future. And on top of that, we appreciate you guys listening. Enjoy your Saturday and Sunday full of football. Have some buffalo chicken dip, some wings, some what else we got? Some pizza. Whatever you want this weekend, you make it, you pig out, and you watch some football. All right, guys?
Whatever your heart desires, you make that. I mean, me and Bailey are starting a tradition. We're going to try and make something new every Sunday. It's getting to the fall, the greatest season of the year. So enjoy your weekend. Enjoy some football. And go give us a follow on social media. Let us know what you think. Love y'all. I'm out.
Hunter, I got a saying for you for the end of it. It's fall. We all love ball. Let's listen to your fellas, all right?
Hey, I like it. That's
hey,
the
there
first.
You go.
It's fall. Let's watch some ball and listen to the fellas.
There we go.
Ball fellas,
right.
baby.
Yeah.
Go
Peace
Birds.
out, guys.